You know Legacy's good when you record 10 rounds and then go, what's another 5 more on your day off? Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Chad has asked me to play with 12 Mulch. And we are going to be casting the card Treasure Hunt today. And I believe we are going to have 33 lands in our main deck, so hopefully it hits pretty well. This deck conceptually is pretty straightforward. We're playing 12 copies of Mulch. That is Mulch, Winding Way, and the aforementioned Treasure Hunt to put a whole lot of lands into our hand, and occasionally put something like an Uro into the graveyard as well. Ultimately, we are going to look to dump all of these lands into play with a card like Manabond, and there's a sort of important ruling here associated with Manabond and Field of the Dead that you need to know. If Field of the Dead and a bunch of other lands all enter play at the same time, they do see each other. And that means that as early as turn 1, technically, but probably turn 2 or turn 3, we can just create an absolute shit ton of zombies and hope to aggro our opponent out. So at the end of the day, we are a Field of the Dead deck rather than a dedicated control deck. And we can just grind the game out, play 1 or 2 lands per turn, and trigger Field of the Dead that way, even if we don't execute our combo. Why don't we take a look at the full deck list? Now, today's video is sponsored by both moxfield.com as well as Cool Stuff Inc. And if you need paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. So, this is the deck list in all of its glory. I really like the 4 Maze of Ith in this build. You want to have a huge diversity of different named lands so that your Field of the Deads can trigger, but Maze of Ith is so important to keeping cards like Murktide Regent off of your back. I think you just need 4 of this card if you're going to play this archetype. Notably, the Dark Depths combo is not here. Like Punishing Fire, Grove of the Burn Willows, any sort of control like that is not here. This is a zombie deck. We are making 2/2 zombies. That is the primary way that we're going to win, although we might oops accidentally a game with an Uro from time to time. Our game 1 prospects versus combo aren't great. It is race them or die. So our sideboard is relatively heavily geared towards having options versus combo decks, and then a few sort of generic bullets beyond that. Cards like End the Festivities can be a sweeper for small creatures, although honestly Orcish Bowmasters is forcing a lot of X1s out of the format. I don't have a lot to say here other than if you enjoy this video, I have played this deck a couple other times on the channel as well. Consider checking those out. All right, let's battle. Okay, and looks like a keep to me. We've got turn 1, most of the stuff that we could want. What are you doing over there? What are you doing over there? Hold on. Don't do it. Whatever you're thinking, just don't. Okay, it's red-white initiative. At least it's not a Magus of the Moon. I can crop rotation for a Maze of Ith on turn 1, and generally speaking, be okay. My opponent got Plains over Mountain? Okay. I need to do a quick check of my basic lands. I do have Forest and Island and multiples of them. Good to know. So, do this. Fetch. Basic Forest. Oh, fuck, I fucked that up. Or no, I have 2 Misties. JK. Did not mess it up. Do I need... My opponent got basic Plains. I'm going to save this in an attempt to get something else with it. I might want to just play Manabond on turn 1 so that on turn 2 I can Treasure Hunt. But I think I'm going to hold up Maze of Ith instead. Get drop. Hold up crop rotation for Maze of Ith. Actually, no, that was a mistake. I'm supposed to get a red land that I don't care about so that I can crop rotation that away. Yeah, that was a mistake. Finding Chromux. Alright, crop rotation. Sacrifice this. Get Maze. And Maze buys me a lot of time here. Game's not over. Throne of the Dead 3 is scary. Archon is kind of scary. Oh. Well, that's great. So let's treasure hunt. See how well we hit with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As far as Field of the Dead is concerned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This isn't a different name. So I probably fetch, put a Manabond into play off a thing with a different name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, still 6, no matter how many different times I counted. And I'll be seeking to just draw a land or a mulch effect and then go wild. I'm at 12. Okay, sure. There's the mountain, which I think my opponent should have gotten off of this search the first time. Ooh. Yep. That's very good here. That allows my opponent to become the monarch. And goes wide of what I'm doing. Touch the spirit realm, sure. I still might beat this, like, especially now. So let's mulch. I will put 3 land cards into my hand. There's an Uro in graveyard there as well. Play this secondary Manabond. I'll go to my end step. I'll use this ability. Triggers. I will not use Manabond's ability the second time. Yep. I have a lot of dudes in play. Note that I can also... Oh. I should have used Manabond's ability. I should have bounced Obero and then returned it with a second Manabond ability. Neat. Cavern on Human. Sure. Alright. Opponent is chilling. So if they block 4 of these, I don't quite have lethal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 different names. I can cycle this for a different card. So let's do so. There's a Triome. Treasure Hunt. Treasure Hunt's probably fine to cast. Let's do that. Immediately finds a Mulch, which is awkward. Let's cast it, though. At Abo Seiju. Did not necessarily high roll here. I think that's fine. So, play a land, get 2 things. Always yield to that. Play a land, get 2 things. Green, green, or no, can't do it that way. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Uro. Gain some life. Put a land into play. Get 2 more zombies. I'll just swing for lethal all at once next turn. Oh, I guess I let my opponent Throne of the Dead 3. I don't think that matters. Yeah, I don't think that matters. Yeah, Solitude's fine. This game is not about the Uro. It is about the 26, 28, or sorry, 18 zombie tokens in play. Yeah. You may have a look at a card. I will Maze of Ith that. Okay, and we are done here. So, what do I have versus this initiative deck? Probably not much. I don't have anything like Dismember that is just going to answer something like a Magus of the Moon. This is probably sideboard 0 cards and just hope to do the same thing again. The Tabernacle's a little interesting versus 4th Aerlingas. I think I'm just whacking Submit, though. Mindbreak Trap's not crazy for the game that I'm on the draw, but I don't really want to run into that with Treasure Hunt. I don't think I'm interested in this hand. I want a Manabond, or at the very least, an Exploration in just about every keepable hand. How's double Maze of Ith, though? Like, is this fine? It's awkward. It has a real plan. I'm going to say that that is acceptable. Can get weird with Anointed Peacekeeper in particular. Yep, this is fine. I guess I'm playing mana-producing lands first. It's supposed to be Tropical Island, though, for Archon of Emeria purposes specifically. Minor misplay that may end up mattering. Human? Spirit Guide for Fable. That's fine. Yeah, Cavern of Souls is not a free flex land, because situations like that do happen. Yavimaya. Yeah, I wish I played Trop on 1. It matters. Am I taking 2 from Goblin Shaman to Mulch? I don't think so. So we are not under the gun here in terms of damage, but opponent being on the play, confirmed cracked. And Maze of Ith doesn't stop the treasure token generation, which is actually the most important part of Fable in this specific game. C'est la vie, though. Because my opponent does not have true red or true white mana as of right now. 3 mana, another Fable, sure. I could start gearing up for a relatively large fourth Aerlingas. Magus of the Moon's rough. There's about 3 of those in the sideboard. I think at this point I am comfortable conceding. I'm just not going to realistically come back from this one. I don't answer Magus of the Moon. Just like in the entire deck, I don't answer that card. Yeah, that's rough. I am really bad versus that card. I think I need a turn 1 drop. Yikes. So we kept this last time and it didn't work. Let's go to 5. Yikes. Help. Land, Manabond, draw 4. A 4-card hand is objectively better than this. Yes. Yes. Land, Manabond, draw 4, second land. 1, 2, 3. Done. I want this to get blue mana. Turn 1 Archon slows me down a turn cycle, but I don't think I'm supposed to fetch a second basic forest here. I don't know, maybe I should play around it. Like Winding Way finds blue mana a decent portion of the time. Alright. So I want snow-covered forest and Manabond. And now we have to get lucky from here. We're on a mold of 4. Like, this is rough. Red mana. Petal. Are you just gonna Magus me on 1? 4th Aerlingas. That's beatable. It's very good. It's very, very, very good, but it's beatable. Sure. Let's do this one. Winding Way. We choose land. I draw 2. We're gonna hold these in hand until I can do some sort of combo nonsense with a Field of the Dead. We still need stuff to go right. Like, I'm not even to 7 lands yet. And my opponent being the Monarch is not a great situation either. I also didn't draw any utility lands. Well, that represents a Field of the Dead. I think I don't make land drops. I'm only taking 2 damage a turn as of right now. Fable's fine. I don't think I Maze of Ith. I think this is just Field of the Dead. Alright, I'm at 13. You can draw your card. I think I will just end of turn pick up a Field of the Dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 more turn. I mean, presumably. I guess I could draw an Uro specifically, and that would not get me there. Oh, wow. My opponent just discarded some very strong cards. They might be fishing for Magus of the Moon. Yeah, that's Magus of the Moon. I have 0 removal spells for that card in the 75. I auto-lose the game to it, and there's nothing I can do. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. It's just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and it's also a great tool if you're a competitive tournament player. What I'm showcasing here is its compare feature. You can take two deck lists, plug in links to both of them, and then see which cards are unique to deck list A, which cards are unique to deck list B, and which cards are shared with both of them. And you can do this both with the main deck and the sideboard. If you are looking to fine tune a deck list, this is a great way to do that. All right, we have gotten paired against a Yorion deck here, which more often than not recently has meant blue decks. Obviously not the case here. Well, this is a bit of a weird opener for a traditional D&T deck, though. All right, so drop. Exploration, Storm is 1. Oseju, Storm is 2. After I cast this other Exploration, and then I will drop the land drop as well. I want to get under a lot of things that my opponent could be doing. And then we hope Treasure Hunt does some serious work. Sure. It is good old Stoneforge Mystic. Binding Cauldron. Maze of Ith invalidates that. There's a Maze of Ith, speaking of. Let's try to run hot here. Cast Treasure Hunt. That was just a cantrip. I hit Manabond as my first one here. Unfortunate, but it happened. We'll play the Manabond for variety and call it a turn. Cauldron plus Wasteland would be annoying here. All right, opponent does not have third land drop, which is great for me. Sure. 1, 2, 3. Let's draw a card. Field of the Dead. I think I'm okay with just playing these out, rather than trying to treat this as a combo thing, just in case something like Skyclave happens. Solitude, sure. They just never want me to get that Uro back. That's fine, like I have one card in graveyard. I don't know that that was a good play. Oh, it's Samwise. Sure. That's fine. Oh, I should zoom in on this one. It returns the Solitude to hand, which makes the previous play make more sense. Sure, Urza Saga was sort of indicated by Shadow Spear. Recruiter's fine, unless my opponent has like a red splash for Magus of the Moon, which wouldn't really make sense in an Urza Saga build. Just finding Flicker Wisp. We'll maze both creatures. And I move on with my life. Beginning next turn, I start taking a point of damage or 2 per turn cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can probably hold this land. Play out the other Exploration. If my opponent has a Pithing Needle in their deck list for Maze of Ith, things will get awkward. But otherwise, I'm not super worried right now. Like taking 1 point of damage when I'm at 30 life. NBD. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll dump these into play with Manabond. And this also allows me to take out the Urza Saga while making a couple of constructs. Alright, so my opponent makes their construct. I'll take out Urza Saga. And now we're in the grind. Samwise Caracas is a thing. Flicker Wisp is fine. I imagine Flickering Recruiter. Sure. And now we're just hoping to get Draw Force. There's finding another Flicker Wisp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different names. I don't have Tabernacle in game 1. I'm going to hold this crop rotation for a turn cycle. It gets more interesting once I have another land and it can become another like Field of the Dead or become Obero. Wasteland targets Field of the Dead. Cast crop rotation. Sacrificing this. Finding a new Field of the Dead. Now my opponent can do Samwise Caracas nonsense if they want. Sure. Just going for the recruiter. I don't know what my opponent's long-term plan is, but Samwise bounce, return Wasteland sounds pretty good to me. And just like take out the Field of the Dead the next turn. Don't allow me to do something silly. And just another Flicker Wisp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't have 7 different names. Hold this for a turn. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. I just maze both. All right, great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is the 7th, but I'm fine to just play this. Yield to that. Play this. Wasteland's awkward in that I don't really want to shut off my Field of the Dead right now. Like, I do want to deny my opponent mana, but I don't know that I'm supposed to do that yet. This round may end up, like, going to time. 3 attack, I maze them all. Meaning that I end up taking 3. Sure. Crop rotation. Reasonable. I'll play that during my opponent's turn. I don't have to play it right now. I'm probably getting another Maze of Ith with this. But I will think about just Obero here, depending on what my opponent does with their turn cycle. Sure. Yeah, we'll just maze 2 of those and be perfectly happy with this. Alright, if there's no Wasteland from my opponent, I think I get Obero. Sure, Yori into hand is fine. So let's go green, crop rotation, sacrifice this, pick up Obero, and do the trigger thing. I'll then return Obero to my hand and start making lots of dudes. Oh, nice. Let's send this to the graveyard. Crop rotation, sacrificing Boseiju, get a new Field of the Dead, play Obero, return, play, return, play, return, play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different lands. I will play, return, go to end step. Yes. Play. I think I wasteland the Caracas at this point. No, it shuts me off my thing. I don't need to. This is kind of gross. Sure. This is the most I've ever seen an Obero pop off. Finding Stoneforge, sure. Fine with taking 3 more points of damage. I will lose some amount of life. A Bojuka Bog. Yeah, I think I just send all of these sideways. Math is for blockers. My opponent has accepted their fate. That was cool. I enjoyed that. Let's play those End the Festivities though, huh? How about that? Just like get rid of all those Flicker Wisps, Samwise, and friends. Meltdown and Endurance are playable. The thing is, any card that I put in my deck that's not a land makes Treasure Hunt worse. I want Taiga and Tabernacle as well. I still probably get rid of Bojuka Bog, despite the fact that it has like very, very, very minor utility. It's just an ETB tapped land. So Taiga becomes that. Generally speaking, I don't want to be wastelanding my opponent. Wasteland becomes Tabernacle. What do I do for End the Festivities? Do I just cut my Uros? Like, my opponent is a presumably 4 Swords to Plowshares, 4 Solitude, 4 Caracas, maybe more. Exile-based removal deck, like, especially when you start considering Skyclaves and such, Flicker Wisps. I think I'm just, like, not trying to win with Uro. So this game is just asking the question, can I play a game that is this slow? I think no. This is a keep. Basic green. Get rid of this. Treasure Hunt specifically gets worse. Most other things are better. Keeps the utility Caracas. And I just kind of assume that Mulch gets me into some other colored mana in a way that's meaningful. It's a little annoying given my sideboard plan. Ooh, yeah, that's fine. Basic green. Exploration. I think I play Yavimaya Manabond to use my mana here. I wonder if that mom is attacking, just unrelated. Yeah, that mom is attacking. That's fine. Opponent potentially has Samwise here. So let's mulch. Nice. 1, 2, 3. I will play 1 and 2. I specifically want Volk. Cast Life from the Loam, targeting 1 and 2. Bam. So next turn, I'll crop rotation for a field, and then I'm good to go. Enlightened Tutor. In the year of our Karanos 2023. I mean, you're allowed to do that. But my opponent is going to spend their turn on Rest in Peace. Oh no, don't tap the Wasteland. Oh. That's not... Man, that mistake is going to get punished so hard. So, crop rotation. Sack a forest. Get a Field of the Dead. Move to end step. Yes. Imagine what this turn looks like instead if my opponent holds up Wasteland. And now, while Wasteland is still tapped, and this is not interruptible, pick up a Breeding Pool. Get 2 more. Fetch. I guess pick up a basic land of a different color. Bam. Alright. Yeah, my opponent tapped 1 land wrong, and I got 14 power as a result. Sure. Okay. That's very frustrating. I get Zombie. I get Manabond. I think I keep a basic. I don't think Enlightened Tutor or Cataclysm is supposed to be in my opponent's deck. They Livy. Like, I don't know that casting that Cataclysm wins my opponent this game. Because as soon as I get a draw 4, I recover pretty much all of the ground that Cataclysm did immediately. Sure. Finding a Stoneforge, which is not very good in the face of Mazavith. I guess they can Wasteland and commit to that. Give them some choices. Alright, they are Stoneforging. Finding the Cauldron. You're going to Wasteland, you do it now before I have a chance to draw a crop rotation. Not punished. I'm going to hold this. So I presume my opponent is just going to try to go aggro now. With the Cauldron. And you even saw the crop rotation trick in a previous game. Sure. I'll take 5. Yuck. Also, let the record show that I have 2 Life from the Loams in my deck list. I think this zombie is now blocking before my opponent... Well, maybe my opponent doesn't protect. Regardless, I think I'm dead if I don't find, like, Mazavith in the next turn cycle, so I think it's a moot point whether or not I block right now. Nope. Bottomed out. So, if I want to play around Cataclysm, I could board in Flusterstorm, but that probably only counters it immediately when that mana is available. I think I just kind of ignore its existence. Also, was that a 4-card hand? Was that same game? I think it was. This is no green mana, so I probably have to ship this one. This hand is solid. Not insane, just solid. I probably throw back Life from the Loam since my opponent is showing me that they want to tutor for Rest in Peace. Alright. Get a basic. Cast Manabond. And we'll hope to do some gross things in the not too distant future. Crop rotations, okay. I think I just increase my percentage chance. I want green, green. I also want access to... I already have blue in hand. Yeah, this is fine. Let's increase my percentage chance of just finding, nice, my most relevant lands. And next turn, I'm set up to crop rotation into a field and then do gross things. Enlightened Tutor for Urza's Saga. Okay. This one's a little weird. I think I play Winding Way like this for flexibility. That is a draw 3. I find getting rid of Exploration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, crop rotation away one of these lands, probably Volk. Or no, probably a Forest. Or Field of the Dead, and just shit zombies everywhere. Seems fine. Field of the Dead. Yes. Alright. Before my opponent can wasteland Field of the Dead, I probably make one more. Like just grab the tapped Triome or something. Maybe Breeding Pole's worse. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. So then that sets my opponent back from a Cataclysm, which is presumably one of their primary outs to this. Oh, I also just have Life from the Loam? Why did you do that then? Like, if you have Surgical too, like, go for it. Field, Misty, Wooded, bam. Swing in for 12. Opponent doesn't even protect with Mom. Field of the Dead. Make a zombie. Go to end step. Yes. Make 2 more zombies. Have multiple zombies on holdout in case something really weird like Ratchet Bomb happens. I don't care if you Pithing Needle one of my fetch lands. Sure. Recruiter's fine. I imagine you're dead, even if you get a Solitude to help. Getting Flicker Wisp. We'll fetch some lands out. The Triome. Yeah. So Legacy has changed a lot. And like one of my soapbox things is that Enlightened Tutor is not a playable Legacy card anymore. Like, you cannot take a turn off to put a card on top of your library, given the speed of this format, and given how good Disruption is in this format. Like, I can see the Cataclysm being a reasonable Magic card. Don't play Enlightened Tutor in any deck ever. Okay, I'm on the draw. I have a reasonable hand here. It's a little awkward in that I have to commit to a tropical island, which will be bad if I am playing against a wasteland deck. Okay, now I don't have to commit to a tropical island. That's cool. I think I'm jamming though. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I can like go back to this Maze of Ith-based game plan. Ooh, shit. It worked. We'll be happy sooner or later. I've got some cards that I would like to cast from hand before I do the thing. Sure. I'm at 16. As long as I'm not facing down more pressure, I think I'm okay. I might just play Maze of Ith with crop rotation to protect it if my opponent doesn't deploy a second threat. If they deploy a second threat, I might need to go for broke with a Winding Way and try to advance my own game plan here. We're real good against single threat with this hand and pretty bad versus double threat and beyond. I gets to see whatever my next draw is. A crop rotation, which is a very risky card right now. Hate that this costs me life. Let's go for it though. If Winding Way resolves, I probably just dump the rest of my hand. Oh, wow. Land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll wait a turn. I think that's worth taking 3 extra points of damage to live the dream. Okay. Sure. Counter spells start to get a little scary here. Oh, we're going aggro. We're trying to turn this into a 3-power thing immediately. Ooh. Junking the Brazen Borrower. I guess that accomplishes the goal. That makes sense. Alright, I'm gonna take 6. Go to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need another land. I have to treasure hunt here, which is unfortunate. Alternatively, I can risk a crop rotation and have double Maze of Ith. Is that better? Double Maze of Ith is probably playing to not lose. I'm going to try to play to win here. Let's treasure hunt. And as long as our top card isn't just a non-land, like, we're good. It is now Force of Will. That leaves me dead. Unfortunate. I think worth risking. So, by crop rotation for Maze of Ith, the same thing happens. I take 3, then I draw a second Maze of Ith, and I'm just dead to Lightning Bolt all game. Alright. To make myself better versus counterspells, I probably board out the 3 copies of crop rotation. Board in, like, land, and one other card. I probably want to play 2 copies of Endurance. Maybe I don't need Tabernacle. Just play 2 Endurances and an extra land over Crop Rots. I could go with those as well. Yeah, this is fine. It will not do the thing at absolute turbo speed, but it looks good. The Forest, Exploration, Land Drop. And then we have 3 different draw effects, and we're most scared of opponent leading on Dragon Rage Channeler. Okay, they didn't do that. They did have a 1-drop creature, though. Let's go land drop 1 to play Treasure Hunt. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. Then we'll do tapped land drop 2. And then next turn, Treasure Hunt is the first card that I cast. We care if that one gets dazed and countered. We don't really care if Life from the Loam gets dazed and countered. Nice. Life from the Loam is now very good. Sure, this will set the Delver up to flip. So actually, I guess if Treasure Hunt hits no lands, no untapped lands, then playing on it just missed an attack. Right? Let's Mulch first instead of Treasure Hunt, then. Bam. One land. Okay. I guess I don't need to fetch right now. No, okay. I'm casting Life from the Loam. Might as well grab regular Forest. Attempt Life from the Loam. Nice. Let's just get Field of the Dead out of the way. 5 different names. And Uro potentially coming next turn. Very likely, because I can just dredge extra cards into my graveyard with Life from the Loam. Won't even have to get rid of a reasonable Magic the Gathering card to do so. Sure. This is fine. My opponent's got to get moving here. I'm going to be able to cast Uro and Life from the Loam on my turn. Got it. I'm at 16. Dredge. Land drop. Fetch. Blue. Blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attempt Uro. Oh wow, Uro's in play. Good stuff. There's a Misty. We're at Field of the Dead time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Play Misty. Fetch. Yeah. No changes to sideboarding. So this is a reasonable hand. It's got Exploration into Winding Way with Maze of Ith to buy me some time. My opponent mulliganed once. Again, Dragon Rage Channeler is the scariest opener, which my opponent does have. I guess Daze is a little rough. I could wasteland my opponent. I don't think I want to play that game. Force of Will. That's fine. Yeah, over time, I have grown less and less fond of the try to wasteland Delver out of the game plan. I just don't think it usually ends up going well. I'm just gonna protect my life total here and prolong this game. Now, if my opponent has one land in play as of the end of this turn, like, we'll talk. Another wasteland is quite bad. Sure. I'm at 18. Do I want to wasteland them? I'm okay with taking 1 to 3 points of damage and then playing this next Maze of Ith and just make it less likely that my opponent can cantrip towards the next answer to Maze of Ith. Like, 2 of their wastelands are gone. But, like, Delver is meant to run on low resources. So, like, I am a deck that wants to be at 7 land drops, right? So taking a land drop off is rough. But we'll see if it works out. Opponent's down to 2 cards. We're chilling. They're somewhat likely to be counterspells if they're just like opponent like is not casting things. Yep. Amazing. Okay, sure. So now I can start casting spells. I think I play a Winding Way since I have 2 of them. Since I have like 3 different draw spells here, I'm okay feeding 1 to Daze if that's one of the cards my opponent has. I could specifically get an Uro, or like try. Never mind. Sorry, this isn't. Hey, it's an Uro. I've made a land drop. We're good to go. We can work towards blue, blue, green, green to bring that back. Hardcast Brazen Borrower? Hardcast Brazen Borrower, sure. I mean, I'm only taking 1 damage per turn cycle as of right now. Like, this is fine. Maze that. And then a second Maze of Ith is just insane. Ooh, are we Murktiding? We are Murktiding. Exploration's very good. So I am going to play Exploration. Play my first land. Green, green, blue, blue. Play my second land. This runs into Daze, but is otherwise incredibly strong. Pyroblast. That is punishing. All right. I take 5 damage for attempting that line. And then we'll kind of see how bad it is from there. Maybe I was greedy. I'm at 5. All right, another Maze of Ith is very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can get to 6, 7, but that like doesn't matter. The spell that I hit is what matters. Opponent's waiting to pay costs on something. Another Pyroblast. Good God. I have 6 blue cards in my deck. No justice. So I will Winding Way. Land. Play a Maze of Ith. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess get this out of the way for next turn. 7. I'm dead to Lightning Bolt or Wasteland. My opponent does not have one of those. I probably win, but they topped their card for the Surveil, which is bad news for me. All right, Maze both. Do you have Bolt? Maybe not. Dredge Life from the Loam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be 7. So these start making zombies. Cast Uro. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I can undo Yavimaya and take Manabond instead. 5. All right, Uro's in play. I'm outside of range of Lightning Bolt now. Play a Misty. Cast Life from the Loam. With 2 targets, I don't think I immediately fetch. I am tight on life here, and this can just tap for a green for a daze or something if I have to. Alright, play Misty. Make something with Field of the Dead. I don't think I cast Mulch here. Or maybe Stable. If it makes it back to my turn and this Uro attacks, I think we're solid. Those Pyroblasts, like, I have very few blue cards, but my opponent had them at very critical moments. Yep. Alright, maze all 3. Take no damage. We're good. I don't think I have to dredge with Life from the Loam. Let's go to combat. I am fine attacking with the Uro. I maybe Mulch first, actually. No dredge. Just see if I hit a Field of the Dead to increase the number of zombies that I get. Double block's fine. I actually probably killed a Dragon Rage Channeler over the Murktide Regent, as weird as that is, because the additional selection is really strong. Yeah. This is fine. Cast Mulch. Get Obero. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can just Uro again already. Let's fetch once. Got a drop. Now I don't have to get rid of my Life from the Loam. Blue. Blue. Green. Green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reattempt Uro. This is gross. Don't dredge Life from the Loam. Put a breeding pool into play. Trigger field. Alright. Make a land drop. I still have more land drops. Cool. Make a land drop. Call it a turn. Presumably have lethal next turn. Not dead to Pithing Needle on Maze of Ith for a number of different reasons. Ooh. I was sweating it in the middle there, but like, this deck proved itself that match. Okay, I don't have a Manabond or Exploration with this hand, which I think means I'm just going to ship it. I don't have any green mana with this hand. We're going to 5. It's going to get a little sweaty here. This is the best hand so far. We'll pitch an Uro and I guess a Treasure Hunt. This still has a very real chance of winning. Opponent's a second main phase land drop hipster. That's fine. Let's get a basic here. Maybe get Stifled. Did not get Stifled. Let's go Forest into an Exploration. This is a great Spell Pierce if my opponent has one randomly. They do. So I get slowed down a ton here by that. So opponent might be doing something kind of on the Delver spectrum with Spell Pierce. Something like a Stoneblade deck wouldn't be crazy. Not a lot of that running around, though. The next land drop will probably give us a pretty strong indication. Nice. So let's reattempt Exploration. No Spell Pierce this time. Force of Will pitching Force of Negation. Opponent says no. So we're mostly hoping that my opponent is playing a very slow control deck at this point, but Spell Pierce doesn't tend to be played in the go long decks. Bant. Okay. So it's early game Spell Pierce rationalizing that up the beanstalk gets you out later. So we are going to Treasure Hunt specifically this turn. That way I can potentially hit an Exploration. Negative, but we drew a bunch of cards. I imagine we'll be pretty good against this deck. Like, we probably don't have to worry about, like, 4th Aerlingas being just absolutely soul-crushing and spinning this game on a dime if my opponent is in Bant. Not to say they can't have it, you know. One Volk goes a long way. Do I make this Spell Pierceable to keep flexibility? I think so. Let's Mulch. Ooh. 1 and 2. Play field. 7 cards in hand. We're looking for a way to just make extra land drops at this point. I'm not interested in really wastelanding my opponent, despite the fact that, like, their 5 drops can't trip well. Ah, fuck, they do have red. Yeah, that's a lot of card advantage. Like, that's draw 3 this turn, plus draw X, where X is the number of turns remaining in this game. Yep. Yeah, so now that my opponent has red mana, I don't think I win this game anymore. Like, I'm basically ready to just concede to that. I'm not going to, but I am going to swing for the fences here and try to draw and hit something that lets me make extra land drops, because that's what I need. I'm already discarding cards. I don't think I cast Mulch right now. Discard a Volk. Never mind the fact that, like, the 4th Aerlingus just kills me in 2 more attack steps. 4 mana, Comet. Yeah, the red mana is killing us, not the Bant mana. Oh, fuck. Okay. I don't think I beat onboard Comet at this life total. I guess I can take my draw step. It is free to do so. But, like, the variance of Comet does not look good for me. Yeah, just did not hit a way to produce extra land drops. We needed to dodge 4th Aerlingus, and we did not. So if my opponent's playing Spell Pierces, I hate the idea of crop rotation. Again, I can play Flusterstorm for 4th Aerlingus, sort of like I could play it for Cataclysm in previous rounds. That just doesn't sound super attractive. Even if I trade with it, like Mystic Sanctuary is a thing, it just comes back. I think I'm just going to kind of ignore it. I don't know, maybe Fluster fills the slots of crop rotation. I almost wish I had Blue Blast over Red Blast right now, oddly enough. If my opponent just leads on infinite basics like last time, this hand isn't actually all that good. I'm gonna mulligan. I think the way of putting extra lands into play matters a lot. Yeah, this is better. But a force effect on this exploration is really bad for me. Like, I cannot overstate enough, because this is an ETB tapped land, so I can't actually cast the 2-drop on curve if this gets forced. Yep. It is what it is. But I really need an untapped land to stay competitive in this game now, I think. Taking the turn off to do a tapped land is quite bad. Negative. Alright. We bog and miss a turn of plays. Sure. No beans. Spell Pierce is a thing. Not really in the situation to play around it. Okay, opponent does not have counter spells. Great. Let's start ticking up towards inevitability. If my opponent had different lands, I would have played Maze of Ith there to play around 4th Aerlingus for X's 1. But we don't have to do that right now. Just immediately cash in for the card. Am I drudging? Nah. Let's Winding Way. I'm going to pay life for that. Choose land. Hit a lot of land drops. Let's just floop a Maze of Ith into play. Call it a turn. This is 7 in hand. I don't really want to dredge or cast a Life from the Loam right now. Like, it becomes the backup plan. Or if everything else goes wrong. I hate 4th Aerlingus. My opponent just gets to do it for X equals 2 and become the Monarch anyway, even though I have Maze of Ith defensively. Yeah. The card is so fucking good. Alright, take your card. I need a way to get extra land drops. Whiff. I may end up in the same situation where I have to, like, crack this looking for ways to make land drops. I'm going to try not to do that and just work towards 7 different lands, though. Drop, pass. I'm only taking 2 damage as of right now. It's the second copy of 4th Aerlingus that will be gross. Sure. Beans are fine. My Kingdom for Exploration or Manabond as the top card of my library. Maze 1? Take 2. I'm at 13. Life's bad. Game's not over, but life's bad. Sure. These extra cards are going to bury me. No dredge. Okay, there we go. Attempt exploration. I mean, I'll pay. Okay, great. We got a card for free. So play Taiga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. Good stuff. We'll then fetch. Get some land. I don't know that it matters much. Probably a Volk. Just differentiate names here. Then cast a Mulch. Don't care if this gets spell pierced. I just have like Life from the Loam plus a handful of things. It's just 4th Aerlingas again. Sure. That's very bad. Luster. Sure. So stack clears. I've got land drops for days. There's more human knights coming. My opponent can bounce one of my zombies out of the way with Teferi. Yep, and they do. My opponent plays Creature Fireball. That cantrips. I take half my life total this turn. And then we'll see if I can stabilize. Oh, I don't take half. They're holding back. I mean, I'm blocking. I am not really interested in the Monarch here. I am interested in protecting every single point of life total. I understand not attacking with that one. I'm not sure that it's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 8. Meaning that I can now sacrifice this land to draw a card. Not interested in dredging. Is a Misty. That's 2 bodies. 2 bodies is good. So let's do that. Fetch. Tapped Triome. Maybe tapped Breeding Pool out of the way. Will not pay life. So I'm not taking any more damage as of right now. Life from the Loam gets back 1, 2, 3. And I've got lands. So now it's just a question of like how many removal spells does my opponent have to punch damage? Or do they just like find another 4th Aerlingas or another Mystic Sanctuary to put it back on top and do it again? It's Comet, which I'm not very good at answering. Sure. That was a 6. That was another 6. That's a 5, and that just kills me. That's very disappointing. All right, final round. No green mana here. This one's a mulligan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands towards Field of the Dead. It's not perfect. We're missing some gas, but I get to attempt to do part of my thing on turn 1. And hopefully this resolves. Please? Fuck. Force pitching Leovold. Potentially playing against some sort of bug control deck list. I guess the next question is like, does my opponent have Wasteland? Well, I'll try to draw some cards. Finding Way, please. Land? Alright, I mean, we turned it into Breeding Pool, and unfortunately took a lot of really good cards off the top of my deck. Cycle. Alright, finding Underground Sea. Feels like bug. Hopefully this means no 4th Aerlingas. Boseiju. Asleep. In case my opponent flashes in Bowmasters, let's save 1 point of life. Heyo. That's fine. Sure. This deck does not function well without Manabond or Exploration, folks. I feel very confident about that, having played 1 league with this configuration. Like, you can see the finish line, but you need the performance-enhancing drugs to get there. That's a shuffle. Second Ponder. Also a shuffle. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. We'll maze one of those. Call it a turn. This turn, I think I just bog my opponent and take that Lorien Revealed out of the graveyard. And also just reduce the graveyard count in case my opponent is playing something like Murktide Regent. There aren't a lot of bug control decks floating around, so we're more in the brew territory rather than stock territory. All right, 16. Hey, that's cool. Let's play a land drop and play around days. I don't really think that's a card that my opponent has, but I've been wrong before. Nice. Yep. The second one of those stings a little bit. I was willing to increase the size of this token. The second one's a lot. Field of the Dead. Bowmaster triggers. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I start getting Field of the Dead tokens next turn, and Maze of Ith has the Orc Army token covered. Like, I might even end up replaying Uro from Graveyard. It would not be crazy to do so. Sure. Just when opponent starts having something like Wasteland that my play gets punished, is what I was going to say. That's 4 more damage than what I was expecting to take here, and it sets me back for Field of the Dead. All in all, rough. Oh, this turn's awkward. I don't really want this to be Trop for different names for Field of the Dead purposes. Ugh. Ugh. Orcish Bowmasters doesn't stop you from playing the cards, folks. It just makes it fucking hurt. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Rude. Right before I get my zombies as well. 7. So this token is huge. Now I got a zombie. Now every turn from here, things get better and better for me. We have some short-term problems, though. And I'm hoping not to crack this Wooded Foothills until after I play another Field of the Dead. But I can't take a hit for 6. Like, it is just absolutely not allowed. Our opponent gave it some thought, considered swinging with Bowmasters, and then did not. Alright, great. Game's not over, but I think we're stable. Oh, shit. That's good. And this is not draw, very notably. That's a lot of cards. Do I treasure hunt again? Try to hit exploration? That's fine. I've got land drops for days. Exploration is good. Manabond resolving is GG. Finding Way is not what I'm looking for. We'll play Field of the Dead as my land drop. Get 2 zombies. Call it a turn. And fetch up 2 more zombies at a moment's notice. Fatal Push a token is fine. Waiting to pay costs on something. What has a weird cost? Murktide Regent has a weird cost. Okay. I have Winding Way to look for Maze of Ith. And I can Uro if I have to. I don't think I want to cycle the Triome here. And I don't crack this because I can get more zombies off it in a minute. It's another Uro. Let's Winding Way, looking for Maze of Ith. Land. Found Maze of Ith. Fantastic. Now, opponent could have more Wastelands in their deck. I can cast Uro. I get pinged for 2 and grow this token. I don't think that token's relevant anymore. I think this is fine. Blue, green. Oh, do I have to fetch to do this? I do. 8. Volk. 2 friends. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these fetch lands can go. 5. Done. Brainstorm in response. Okay, my opponent is done with me. Ooh. Just brute forced our way through Orcish Bowmasters there. And like, the fact that Bowmasters was a problem was like definitely weird because like it's just the 2 Uros that draw us cards. I don't really like my sideboard. Like it just feels like my sideboard hasn't done very many sideboard things, you know? Prop rot out, extra land drop in. I could play some endurance style cards to help out with the graveyard. I could play some Flusterstorms to help out with counterspells on exploration and Manabond, or Pyroblast for that matter. Fire Blast also answers Murktide Regent. That's like okay. I'm just not the biggest fan of one-for-oneing myself here against a Bean deck that will just draw out of it late game. Alright, I don't have one of my nice accelerants here. Do I count Uro as an accelerant in this matchup? Given that it has negative problems with Bowmasters? Probably not. That's almost what I want. Almost. 5. Solid 5. Uro goes back. Then probably Caracas. This gets basic forest. That can't be wastelanded off of my initial green. Nice. I think we play exploration first. See if that one gets countered. At least getting a response. Brainstorm. This resolves, I get to put Taiga and Manabond into play. Then a single like Abrupt Decay type card doesn't knock me off of my additional acceleration. However, we are not allowed to have fun things here at ThrabenU. Ooh, that is an upkeep cycle, a second Lorien revealed. Opponent pitched 1 to the initial Force of Will there. Thoughtseize? No, Ponder. That's interesting. This feels a little bit like a distraction from what I want to do, which is get Field of the Dead active, though. So I think I just cast Winding Way and start looking for my relevant lands. Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. Opponent trading cards very aggressively here. So they've used 4 cards to stop 2 of my cards, which is fine because I'm on a double mulligan. But yeah. Let's make a land drop not play out Manabond. I don't intend on using it yet. Like, I intend on casting the Manabond the turn where I, like, play a draw 4, it resolves, and then I just crap all the lands into play at the same time. No shuffle on Ponder. Do I want to wasteland my opponent? I don't knock them off a color. The difference between 3 mana and 4 mana doesn't matter a lot. The difference between 4 and 5 does. I guess this knocks them off of like Cantrip into Beans. Or knocks them off of potentially something like Grist. Is not the biggest deal. No wasteland. The way I win is Field of the Dead. Wastelanding my opponent is a distraction. I will happily take my 2 damage a turn. And hope that things go well. I would like to see a piece of gas here. Like, I've got time, but it's not all the time in the world. Brainstorm's horrifying here. Like, this is probably going to allow my opponent to continue to make land drops while shuffling back some of their situational cards that are stuck in their hand. Seems good. I'm at 14. Okay, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. So, let's attempt a Mulch. Pretty easy fetch Force of Negation for my opponent if they have it. That's fine. Again, I don't think I am supposed to wasteland them off of that. Like, the same effect occurs, but I take away 1 presumably blue card from their hand. And at this point, I have 6 different lands in play. If I rip a Field of the Dead, or if I resolve one of these draw 4s, I can do some gross stuff. Take 2, down to 12. We Murktiding. Murktide's scary. Murktide does not give me a lot of time. Sure. Alright. Draw's gotta be good. I mean, that's a good draw. Opponent's got 2 cards left. Let's see if we finally resolve a spell. Force of Will blue card. Come on. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess I hold the Wasteland. This is 10 damage. Yeah, I think I'm good if I don't mulligan to 5 on this hand, but I am just a little short on gas. Yep. Quite good. And any extra body there matters so much. Oh. Alright, we bottomed out. If not for Leovold, I would have drawn Life from the Loam, which wouldn't have been enough. Yeah, so strategy is don't let opponent draw 3 different copies of Force at Will effects. Okay, I have a Manabond. I have 2 lands to get myself started here. This is fine. I don't think it's worth mulliganing or anything, but when I lose the initial Manabond to a Force effect, the rest of this hand is pretty weak. So here's to hoping. Oh shit. Hand's great. Never had any doubts. I probably don't do the Manabond thing immediately. Like, I probably take a couple of turns to gear up to the point where that's good. Yeah, Thoughtseize is not good against me here. I have 4 different things with different names. But like, even Thoughtseize Surgical isn't insane. Alright, lost the Treasure Hunt, which is what I would have taken as well. Shock. Yes. Well, Winding Way. Use land. Get a few cards. Fuel the graveyard for something like an Uro later on. Not interested in Manabond yet. But not too far away from Manabond being good. Alright, opponent gets to smooth out their hand. I guess ideally they want like a Force of Will for Mulch and then a Force of Negation for Life from the Loam. I probably play Mulch before Life from the Loam. That way if they only have Force of Negation, I give them a chance to use it on Mulch. This has been a really interesting and intricate league for the most part. Okay, that one gets to take Mulch. But now Force of Negation on Life from the Loam is enough to slow me down. Oh, nice. Alright. The Manabond is less of the plan now. So let's go land drop 1, cast single target, Life from the Loam. Land drop 2. We'll just make a Murktide Regent less of a problem. And we get 3 looks with Life from the Loam. Honestly, yeah. Let's just dump those. It's not going towards the highest combo potential, but I think that's fine. I don't know, maybe I'm playing scared of answers to these permanents. Cards like Pernicious Deed exist, though. Alright, Dredge Life from the Loam. Fantastic. We'll fetch. Don't have a Taiga. No, I do have a Taiga. I don't have a Volk yet. Life from the Loam. Target 1, 2, 3. See if there's a Force of Negation. There is no Force of Negation. Land drop 1. Land drop 2. I can cycle this right now. Right? Because I dredged Life from the Loam for turn. Which is not drawing a card. Yeah. Let's just do that. Actually, I can just dredge again. That's fine. Hit Uro. Fetch. Grab some land. Cast Life from the Loam. Return both of those. Save the Triome for later. Don't want to put that into play. Also don't really want to Maze of Ith my opponent's Leovold right now. And now we're just looking for Field of the Dead. Sure. No shuffle. They probably kept either an answer to Life from the Loam or an answer to Uro. Okay, Surgical Extraction on the Loam. Perfectly reasonable. I'm going to take 3 rather than let my opponent draw a card. This is fine. I'm at 12. I do have to use the Triome on my opponent's turn. So, blue, green, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Attempt Uro. Uro's in play. Does not draw an extra card. Sure, that's fine. I'll put a land onto the battlefield. 1, 2, 3. Fetch land could be 4. We have 2 land plays available. Let's play 1. We are 36 cards deep without finding one of our Fields of the Dead. Slightly unfortunate, but not like a statistical anomaly or anything. I'll continue to take some damage for a little while. A Wasteland. It's quite good. Exactly enough for a Murktide Regent, sure. Let's draw a card in response, just to see if I randomly hit my remaining Pyroblast. I do not. That resolves. Maze of Ith isn't an answer to it. Well, now it kind of is. Let's start here on Treasure Hunt, which again, notably, is not real card draw. A Manabond. Let's Uro. Blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So, do I want to Boseiju a Wasteland and Caracas a Leovold? Probably. Could have done this differently to actually have drawn a card. Yeah. This is very awkward. I think I messed up this turn cycle. I mean, I know I messed up this turn cycle. Oh, right, this is going to cost 1. So now I Boseiju that Wasteland. I'll play out the Manabond. So my opponent can play a pre-combat Leovold to draw a card off of Murktide Regent on attack, which is awkward, but I think happening. Unless I take the hit for 6, that seems kind of like crazy person talk. Like, I will gain 6 life and you can draw some random card. Like, at any moment I find a Field of the Dead and we're gravy. My opponent has used a Surgical, so it's somewhat unlikely that Uro leaves play forever. Let's Winding Way. Use land. Alright, there's a Field of the Dead. We're good. Play that. Go to combat. Attack with Uro. Trigger on the stack. Bounce Leovold. You can draw a card. Orcish Bowmasters is fine. King the Zombie, that's fine. I'm soon going to have so many of those that I won't care about individual zombies. Make a land drop. Yeah, you can kill that. Are you chumping? Are you trading? I probably just immediately replay Uro if you trade. But I don't know the situation of like counterspells in your hand. Alright, opponent takes the damage. Going to 7. I have 1 land play remaining. Do a Wasteland. I will Wasteland. Don't know that it matters much. Let's tax this. I'll move to end step. Yes. Put this into play. Get another zombie. Call it a turn. I can instant speed fetch up 1 more zombie at any point that I'd like. Sure. Yeah, Leovold's fine. I am A-okay with my opponent, like, drawing a card off an attack. Do I even care? Like, do I just take 6? Yeah, I think I care. Because the main way that I die at this point is to that thing connecting 3 times. And I think I hold this fetch land for a turn cycle. Attack with just Uro, I think. Attack. Trigger on the stack. Bounce that. Ooh, another Bowmasters. That is a slight inconvenience. But I don't really think it's anything more than that. Another Maze. Really, though, I would like more copies of Field of the Dead. Sure. Okay. Fine. The opponent's going to trade their Orc Army token for Uro. That's okay with me. Sure. I have 4 cards in graveyard. Make it 5 cards in graveyard. Grab a land. Make some zombies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam, 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 bam. Recast Uro. The Orcish Bowmaster pings or whatever. Oh, great. Yeah, Winding Way is so good here. You can kill a zombie token. Now we Winding Way. Use land. Hey, we hit Field of the Dead. That's gonna do gross things. One land play remaining. Pick up this. Play another Manabond. Move to end step. Trigger Manabond. Yes. I believe I have one fetchable land in my deck. So this Wooded Foothills is a tropical island. And then my further fetches aren't great. Opponent, you are on 4 minutes on clock, and you have hell to slog through. You can't be sitting here wasting the clock. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I want to play hot this game. Ah, opponent is done with me. That's fine. I was having fun though. So generally speaking, that was a really fun league. Although we found that there were a couple specific things that we were very bad against. Number one, we have just literal zero answers to Magus of the Moon, and Blood Moon, accordingly, would also be a problem. Maybe that's one of those things where we just kind of nod and go like, okay, that is what it is. But that's really hard to beat. And fourth Aerlingas, meaning that the control decks can't just like, let me phrase that. Fourth Aerlingas allows the control decks to pivot earlier on in the game than any other win condition does. And that card is very scary, even when only cast for like 2 or 3. That was taking over the game very quickly. So when playing against non-fourth Aerlingas control decks, I think we're in pretty good shape, like in that last round. But fourth Aerlingas is rough, and Comet is also very scary. I'm not very good at pressuring that card unless Field of the Dead is already online. This deck definitely falls into the fun but competitive tier, where the deck has real problems and is maybe not necessarily going to race opposing combo decks, but you can play this and expect to do decently well in something like an FNM or League. I'd be hesitant to bring this one to a big event, at least right now with the metagame where it is, with like lots of combo and lots of white control decks. Yeah, but if you end up needing any cards for this, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. And folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I played a GP worth of matches today, so I'm going to call it a day. See ya!